You're listening to the After the Show movie podcast brought to you by ascully.com. And here are your hosts, A Scully and Sid Talk. Hello, Sid Talk.
Hello, that seemed like a long time.
That was 20 seconds.
How many seconds? That's a long time of silence.
Sid Talk, she can't take 20 seconds of silence.
No, I like it. It just seems like a long time when you try to do it on purpose.
Yeah. So, what was your before the after the show discussion?
Not much. Just waiting on you. There really wasn't much. You're unpacking my new game for me, which is awesome. Got me a new game.
The Sims.
And that's about it. I'm kind of focused on what I'm doing. You're kind of focused on what you're doing.
I was doing some stuff.
Not very interesting. This is marriage, everyone. This is marriage. Don't let the movies fool you. It's not all glitz and glam. Sometimes it's just nothingness in the same room together.
Which is good. If you can be nothingness in the same room together, then you're a good match.
And we'll note that as from last week, I have improved my sound of my voice. However, it could crackle and crumble.
It doesn't sound like you've improved any.
It does. Last week I was pretty cloggy and pretty coughy. So today, if I start to crackle, I have my wine here to help, of course, and a cup of hot tea. So I'm covered.
Wine is always the best option.
Always.
That's what the doctor said. Take some wine.
Yeah.
Take wine 3 times a day.
If you listen to my lungs closely, you'd hear the gurgling and
it'll be much better.
The wheeze. I don't think the wine's good for that, but...
All right, so it is Saturday, March the 2nd. This is After the Show. We're a movie review podcast. And this week, on our 572nd episode, we're reviewing the movie Ben is Back. It's a 2018 movie. It's out on Blu-ray now. You can pick it up. It's rated R from our friends at Lionsgate, who sent us a copy of the Blu-ray for review. And Sid Talk will give you the synopsis of Ben is Back. And don't say Ben is back.
A son
That's not the synopsis.
Returns after what's made clear is that he's had drug problems for a brief moment. And we're kind of left with the question marks of, where's he at in this recovery/addiction thing? And the mom is trying very desperately to get through Christmas.
Yeah, it's a happy-go-lucky Christmas movie.
It really isn't. No.
Fun for all the family.
It just happens to be at Christmas, which, if you know people who do have, sadly, drug addicts in their family, Christmas is often the worst time because there is that promise of stuff and money. And, well, if you can spend $50 on a present, why can't you give me $50 for a hit? Or, well, I can't pay for my electricity right now, but you're buying all this Christmas shit. And then the guilt kicks in. And, if you have any interaction with people with drugs in your entire family, sadly, it's often the same story. And I think this is a slice of a story about a family dealing with one member who fell into the trap of the drugs. Well, chose to become part of the trap, but still.
So let me warn you before our full discussion on the movie, there can be some spoilers, so wait.
Yeah.
Go and see it, or don't, or do whatever you want, but you're going to hear some spoilers. So this movie, up front, stars Julia Roberts and Lucas Hedges, who you will know from Manchester by the Sea, probably. And how did you like it?
Oh, it was really good. You can't say it's enjoyable because it's kind of a flat line on a good mood. It's not Manchester by the Sea kind of sadness, but it feels without the extra grit because it's not super gritty. It still feels pretty real in the emotional department, and that's kind of a drag because it's the mom trying so hard and knowing you don't know if you can trust him. The whole dynamic. It's kind of, it's not depressing, but it's very flatline if it doesn't go one way or the other, which I kind of like. It doesn't make you feel like, yay, everyone's going to triumph over drugs. And it's also not, boo, everyone's going to fail if they start doing drugs.
What I liked about it was how I didn't trust this kid immediately. You know, when it was established that he was a drug addict. And then he comes around. The way he comes around as well. Looking in the door, looking in the window.
Yeah, and he's pissed off because he can't get in the house, which you automatically know he's sort of like... I mean, it's not fair to not trust him just because we find out he's from a drug rehab. That's unreasonable. But his behavior right there at the beginning is kind of all you need. And then he almost immediately tells his mom, do not believe anything I say.
Yeah.
Do not trust me. Because he knows. He knows what he's doing and what he's up to. So, yeah, his initial, like, pounding on the door, he's pissed because they got an alarm system. But what that told me immediately was that he has stolen from them in the past. And that's why it's there. I mean, I added that in, which became true.
Yeah,
but
I also thought that. I thought,
Yeah.
oh, this kid's not to be trusted. Not that he's bad or anything, just that the drugs have got a hold of him, and if he has an opportunity, he's probably going to take it.
yeah, exactly.
And his mum thinks exactly the same way. It's like this, you know, she's very glad that he's turned up for Christmas, but then she immediately goes in the house and starts like getting rid of all the pills out of the cabinets and getting rid of
Hiding the jewelry and
yeah. So you can tell that there's she loves him, but she doesn't trust him.
Yeah.
Now, there's like a family dynamic going on. She's obviously remarried. And she's not married to his dad anymore.
They've got 4 kids altogether. So there's like him and his sister from a previous marriage and 2 younger siblings from the current marriage.
And there's a lot of love in the family, but then there's also, you can see all the broken, like the sister, the way she feels about it.
Oh, absolutely. What reminded me of was Fear the Walking Dead. The daughter knew that the mother would favor the druggy son forever, no matter what.
True.
That no matter what she did right or wrong, he was always going to be the one that
Madison and Nick.
Yeah, he got the pass. He got the, like, everything's going to be fine. He got the, like, even the little things, like the son starts to feed the dog some table food and the daughter's like, he's feeding the dog, and the mom looks at her like, it's fine. And then she's like, you don't let me do it. Like, what's so fucking special about my brother who's a druggie and I get told off, so that dynamic was totally there.
Yeah, he's mummy's boy, obviously. Her priority is him.
I think drugs or illness kind of draws a parent to a kid. Like, you can't help it. You want to take care of them. But this, I thought, was really realistic.
Yeah. And, so there's this scenario. He's trying to keep on the right track. You can tell. He doesn't really want to go back on the wrong track.
Well, we don't know.
It doesn't seem like it does. Like, when he comes, he wants to just see his siblings. He wants to...
That's what we're led... No, yeah. I didn't believe that from the beginning.
I mean, I didn't trust him, but I did believe there's something inside him saying, no, I want to actually be all right here, but there's so many temptations.
Wanted a temporary,
Oh, we had to say that he actually came. Like, why is he back? Well, he was in a sober housing project.
And it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So he said that they let him leave for the day.
Right. Now, did they let him leave?
They must have let him leave or they would have come for him, because at one point the stepfather actually says, I've left word with the sober housing. So they know he's not there. It's not like a jail or anything. It's not like you're in rehab. It's just sort of a halfway house type of deal. He did say eventually that his sponsor told him not to leave. So it was fine that he did, kind of on his own accord, but so nobody was hunting him down or anything.
So I thought I had a handle on what this film was from, like, what was happening. Mum takes him shopping to get him some clothes for Christmas and that kind of thing. They go around the town. But then the, like, shadow of his former life keeps popping up. Like, there's a person in the mall over there who I probably sold drugs to. There's, he keeps seeing things.
Yeah.
And it keeps making him, when the mum goes up to the doctor in the...
Oh, dear.
Yeah, the mum's got a bit of a bitter and...
The mom is classic. She wants to blame everybody except the son.
Yeah.
Including the doctor who first gave him painkillers when he was a teenager.
Right. So she not very nice to that guy.
No. I was like, whoa, this mom is serious.
Hardcore.
Which helped a lot because later when she's just sort of putting herself out there in the danger situation, I wasn't like, this is suspect. Because I believe my mom would do that shit. My mom would drive up to some nasty looking house and some weird characters and get out of the car and say, you know, where the hell's my daughter? Like, my mom would do that. So to me, she felt pretty real.
So part of the, I thought I had a handle on the movie. It was going to be like a drama about trying to keep him under control over this Christmas night, 24 hours. And Mum was going to, and I thought maybe at some point he would take some drugs and there would be a lot of heartache. But what it actually turns into is like this mission. It's a mission, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
And I didn't expect none of this, actually. When it started going that way, the movie, I was like, oh, I didn't think this was... I never even thought of this. What happens is they go out to Christmas Mass, midnight Mass, and while they're gone, somebody breaks into the house and steals the dog, because the dog is something they really love. Now, he immediately thinks, oh, it's probably some drug people who I've dealt with who are trying to send me a message. So then it turns into this mission of him and, well, he would have gone on his own, but his mum decided to come with him, where they're going around trying to get the dog back. Now, that part, it felt a bit too movie-ish for me when it got to that part. Do you get what I'm saying?
At the beginning of that section, yeah.
Yeah, it felt like... I was just settled in for like a really like harrowing drama kind of thing, but this almost felt like it was going a different direction completely. Like it felt like it was going the action route, like something like Taken. And I was like, no, don't need to do that in this kind of movie, because it is more of a, the relationships between people. But then it made more sense as it went on, really. Well, there was a few parts where I was like, what's happening? When they're strapping the drugs to him. And
yep.
There was some parts where I was like, these parts
it didn't really make any sense.
No, it doesn't seem to fit with what's going on here. It seems a bit like Hollywood movie, drug dealing, all that kind of stuff going on. But I don't know. I don't drug deal. I don't know how it works.
I mean, that didn't even make any sense. They strapped money around him, like taped it to his belly, and then he just drove...
explain why. Like, what...
Well, then he's just going to get some drugs. But I mean, This is the guy who took the dog. And once you're in with this guy, you don't get out. And this guy obviously wanted out and blah, blah, blah. I mean, just dumb, stupid shit. But as far as like that world and how they see things. But all they did was strap some money on him. And then he drove across a bridge. And then they cut it off of him.
And delivered the money, yeah.
Like, I don't understand. It wasn't even wrapped in like security tape so that I was thinking, well, is it because... he's not supposed to tamper with it, so if you tape it to his middle... But I mean, even if a cop stopped him, he would still get touched or frisked or something, and he'd have all this money taped to him. He didn't go to an airport. He wasn't going through any kind of like... No, it was really dumb.
This is not Midnight Express.
Yeah, it was like a dumb little thing that these little boys with their drug trade are just wanting to be big men about or something.
Now all like that part seemed out of place to me a little bit. Them going round to people, not all of it, but that part did especially. It just seemed overly dramatic drug dealer thing, artificial danger almost in the movie.
I mean, what I liked about it was the journey was her finding out about the truth about what he had been up to all these years.
Which I did like.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I liked the first one was pretty shocking, I thought. Like his teacher.
Yeah.
So he goes... The first place he stops off to see what's going on is a teacher. And you can tell by the body language that there's been some sexual
intimacy,
relation.
Yeah.
And this is a male teacher. And he's old. And when it clicks in Mum's head, that scene is really good.
Yeah.
Because she actually vomits.
Because she's finding out when her son says to her, you don't want to know. You don't need to, you don't want to know what I've done. And then he says to her, like, I'm not worth you saving. He knows what he means. And now she's finding out what he means. Not that that's not worth saving, but in his mind, he's done all these things and there's no coming back from
he knows, like, in his mind, he is just a piece of shit. Like, he's addicted to drugs. He'll do anything for drugs. His family don't really matter when it comes down to doing drugs.
Exactly.
He'll steal from them. So, yeah, I really thought that was touching. And probably, that's what I said to you. Do you think this is, like, based on, like... No, I don't think this is not based on a true story or anything. But it felt like a lot of it was from real stories.
Yeah, it really does.
Aside from the Hollywoody that part. That's the only part that kind of bugged me. It just felt out of place. It didn't feel like it belonged in this movie. I was like, I don't mind them going around because it's a good tool in the script for them to go around this night and the mother understand exactly what the son has been doing.
Yeah.
But it didn't really need to go into strapping money to him and stuff just to get this dog back. Which, then that's where I was like, oh, this is like Taken.
Because you could have found lots of other ways to get him across the bridge. He didn't need a lot of persuading.
No. So, yeah, that part I would have done without. Because it didn't need to have like a big action piece or whatever.
All they had to do was say, you need to take this over there and bring me back my shit.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, you're the guy to do. That's all they had to do, not the big, yeah.
But yeah, as you were watching it, it just kind of stuck out, didn't it? As like, oh, this doesn't seem... The rest of the movie was not this. What's this? But as far what this movie really is good at, though, is the relationship between the mother and the son. And the rest of the family, but that's brief. But there is the bond is so strong between them. And you feel it all the time. And when, like, the parts where she took him to buy some clothes in a clothes shop, and rule that she'd made over this period is like, you never leave my sight, because if you do, you might be doing drugs, right? Or doing something. So he's trying on just some clothes in a changing room, and she's got the door open and she's just staring at him. And he's like, this is embarrassing, Mum.
And there she closed the door and he jokingly said,
and then
she checked his pockets, and as he closed the door, he said, yeah, but you didn't check my shoes. And then she freaked out, pounds on the door, yells and screams at him. Yeah, so
all that, all these things, they seem kind of ridiculous looking at them, but then I was like, no, that has to be a real story. Like,
oh, God, yeah.
Like somebody, that happens to somebody, Because, like, somebody who is addicted to drugs, their whole mission is to get drugs.
Correct.
Right? And get high.
Everyone, like I said, you can't have a movie that's instantly like, oh, all drug people are hopeless. You can't do that because that's not accurate. However, if we've all dealt with someone who's had a drug problem or a drinking problem or a gambling problem, whatever the addiction is, it's very, very real that that's truly all they're going to want to do, maybe for the rest of their life. Like, no matter what you do or what they go through or what they cause, it's not going to matter. Some people will be like that. And this is like exploring the possibility of this sort of like middle of the road, what would you call them? Middle class, maybe a little upper middle class family.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. He's no different than anybody else. You can't say he's hopeless, but it all feels really true.
It feels very hopeless. Like, I kept thinking all the way through the movie, though, the way he is, he's going to end up dead. Like, I just kept thinking that. Like, he feels like he wants to try, because he goes to the meeting in the middle of the movie. They go to one of those, drug meetings. And
like AA, NA.
Yeah. Now, he wouldn't have even bothered going to that, right, if he didn't want to try. He just wanted to...
Well, what we find out later is he's already got his little stash. And maybe, who knows? He admits later that what we've been seeing isn't necessarily correct.
Right.
That he was told not to leave the place. He did have some drugs he had his hands on already that were in his house. I mean, so who knows what his motivation was for that. I think it was to get away from his mom, but then she forced her way in and went with him. So
it wasn't easy to get away from Mom. She was on it. Then there's like the relationship between the mom and the father.
Well, the stepdad.
The stepdad, not his father, but the father of the little ones. And that's strained too. You can, even from the very few conversations you see between them, it's this drug son, is getting in the way of that relationship.
Well, it's a lot to take on when it's your stepson.
Yeah,
and he's stolen from you. And he's cost you a lot of money.
Yep.
And he's put your wife through absolute hell and misery, including your children. Dangerous. So I understand the strain.
Yeah. It's, so yeah, you can see that even through the very little, there's just a few words between Julia Roberts and the husband. That you're like, oh, it's on the edge here because of this son. Like, because the son, yeah, he's been paying. I mean, it comes out later that he'd been paying to make sure this son's okay, right? So the final part is, did you like the ending of it?
I think like is, I don't know if there's a word for, it's not like or dislike.
Did it touch?
I understood.
Was you crying or touched or?
I was touched as in, I felt like for a brief second, and this has actually come out of the mouths of mothers I've known in my actual life about their children with drug problems, when they haven't died, that they didn't know if sometimes that wasn't the best option at that moment. I mean, it's regretful and it's a horrible thing to think about your own children, but I actually got that feeling in that moment. Are we spoiling the end? He doesn't die.
Well, we got some spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't die, but I mean, it's pretty close. And I feel like if he had, that's the end of it. And if he doesn't, then there is no like, oh, he's lived and everything's going to be fine. You're just starting all over again. You're starting from the first day he ever took a pill. So I don't know. I was pretty ambivalent about the end, to be honest.
Yeah, it was, I thought that he was going to die and that would be the end. And it could well have been, right? Because the way it is done, if you cut the camera 5 seconds before it ends, that would have been the other ending.
Well, still the other ending, because you don't know if he's going to live.
I'm saying the ending where he doesn't wake up, or the ending where he does. So you could, it could have been either way. It was really close.
Yeah, but I don't feel like him being alive is the end.
No, I think him being alive is the worst outcome.
Oh my God.
Because he's on a trail of destruction. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen at some point anyway. It's just when, right? And even she says that when she takes him to the graveyard.
Oh, yeah, I love that scene. And I felt like that was a real thing mothers have done. I don't know that for a fact, but it seems like something you would take your kid to the place and say, fine, if you're going to fucking kill yourself, then where do you want me to bury you?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have to be the one to bury you.
She even says it's going to be soon. If you've got to realize that. So, yeah.
But that kind of stuff, even in life, it doesn't rattle people.
It didn't seem to rattle him at all, did it?
Yeah.
So moving on to the cast here, Julia Roberts plays Holly Burns. I think this is a really good Julia Roberts role. Mm-hmm. Like, because it's a more independent style movie. It's not like a big Hollywood blockbustery type movie. It's more about the acting and not like it's not a flashy movie like Ocean's 8 or something like that. But it really is more about acting and it reveals a lot. I think Julia Roberts does a really good job. I buy her as a mother. I'm not thinking of Julia Roberts, to be honest.
Yeah, true.
I'm just thinking of her as this, she's really sad the entire time, really.
Yep.
Apart from the one moment where where he turns up and she gets out of the car, there's some happiness there.
Fleeting, so fleeting. It just comes and goes.
The happiness is just,
fast.
oh, I can see my son over there.
Yeah.
But then when she thinks just slightly more about it, that might not be great. That he's
exactly
here. Right. But I think she did a really good job. Obviously she's Julia Roberts, right? She does a good job in movies. Is she overrated? What do you reckon?
No, I think it's fair. I think it's fair.
What's your favourite Julia Roberts performance?
I don't even know.
Is it Ben is Back?
I think this one so far, but there's always another one.
Is it not Ocean's 11?
No. As herself being not herself being herself? No.
No, she's really good in this. If you want to see a different side to her, I think this is a good one because it's like stripped back. She's not being glamorous. Mm-mm. She's just being a mom and she's being very emotional a lot of the time. And she uses the F word quite a lot.
Yeah.
I like that actually
she's
because
pissed.
It just came out of her when she even says it to just people. In that store, she says it to the people as she's leaving. She just gets really, it pushes her buttons trying to look after this guy. So Lucas Hedges plays Ben Burns. You'll know him from Manchester by the Sea. That is the kid in that. He was also in Lady Bird, right? Mm-hmm. He was also in Mid-90s that we watched recently, just very briefly. And He's in a lot of... He's in a movie called Boy Erased, which is coming up. He is all the rage at the moment, it seems, in these indie movies. What do you think? I loved him in Manchester by the Sea. I think it's really awesome. Mm-hmm. What do you think of him here?
I think he's good. I feel like because, like what I'd said earlier about it, he's not like Mr. Dynamic, and he's not super loser guy. He's not really scummy. He's very middle of the road. There's nothing here that makes you think, oh, he was a star athlete. What a shame. He's wasting his life.
Dude.
Or he's just like the worst, horrible person kind of thing. Even though as we go through, he tells us the things he's done, he's still just neutral, middle. There's no like, you're not cheering for him because he's got a lot to lose, and you're not like hoping that he fails because he's such an asshole. And I think he pulls that off every time he has the option to be like a little bit charming or whatever. He doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, he's not super lovey-dovey with the siblings. He's not super, like, respectful to the stepdad. Everyone doesn't, like, pat him on the back. They more, like, look at him like, oh, it's that kid, you know, that guy. So I feel like he did a good job of keeping it neutral. Now, if that's good or bad, I just felt like that kept it more real.
Right.
Than to amp up my emotions for him, like, to root for him or to be like, oh, he's a waste of space. I felt like you had to make up your own mind just from the things you know about him, not from him, you know, hamming it up.
Yeah, because when he was in Manchester by the Sea, he was like, he wasn't that kid. He was different. When he was in a band, he's pretty played
funny.
Hockey.
Yeah.
He was funny. Yeah, it's a different type of kid. But I think he did a really good job here, especially the scene where he ditches her at one point. Because he's like sick of her following him around, and he has to go and do a serious drug thing, the thing that I didn't like. Mm-hmm. But when he ditches her in that truck stop, he's like, Mum, go and get me a drink out of the fridge, like the blue one that I like. And then he leaves in the car. But when he says, I love you, like you can see like he's like, I love you.
He
but
does.
I don't want you involved in this shit. I've got to go and do this now.
And the only way I can do this is just ditch you.
Yeah. But so I saw a lot of like emotion between them. It was really good, especially at the very, very end. Courtney B. Vance plays Neil Beebe. He's the stepfather. What do you think of Courtney?
He was good because, again, very neutral.
Yeah, not in it a lot, to be honest.
No, but enough to understand. They have a nice, clean, upstanding, held together life. She even insists that he gets like organic cranberries. So that's like a deflection in life to force something else to try to be perfect when you know over here everything is not perfect. So you feel that tension. I think it's just right on the surface. They've got two seemingly well-adjusted younger children and a teenage daughter, and I mean, she had previously, but I feel like, again, and it sounds like a knock against this movie, but the neutrality of everyone, not grabbing at you, not tugging at you ever until like very key moments. He doesn't seem like an asshole, and he doesn't seem like Mr. Wonderful.
I feel like he has some anger.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Though? But it doesn't come out. He doesn't like punch a wall.
No.
He just keeps saying, just tell me how I can help you. I need to come and get you. You know, he's not like saying like throw him to the wolves, and he's also not saying like we've got to save him. Like there's none of that. I think it's realistic.
Yeah, I do too.
That somebody just doesn't know what the fuck to do in this situation. So all you're trying to do is keep it calm. Don't know what's going to happen. You almost wish it would all just go away. I felt like that was both of them a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Even when the mom's in the middle of it, she's like, in her mind, it's got to be like, can we just go home and have Christmas, you know?
And Catherine Newton plays the daughter, his sister.
Yeah, she was good.
Mia. I don't think she was in it enough. I thought I wanted some more interaction between him and his sister, you know? There was the bit where he went up into the attic. But I felt like they could have done more with them because the relationship was really strained between him and his sister.
It is, but it was very clear from the beginning, so.
And then the two kids, Mia Fowler plays Lacey and Jackery plays Liam.
They're just little kids.
But they're really good. Like, the scene where... See, there was some personality to Ben when he first comes back and he's singing them a song, and when he sits with them to watch TV and they both love up on him.
True.
It's obvious they love him. That even, they're just his step siblings.
Half, not step, half.
Half siblings, sorry. So he is dynamic in that way because he made them a cool sandwich.
Yeah.
They don't. You could see that the kids didn't see that side of him.
Correct.
The other side, almost like they're oblivious to it because they've probably been protected from it. So this is directed by Peter Hedges, who is also Lucas Hedges, the star of this movie, is his father. And he also directed Pieces of April, which we had to have a discussion earlier of whether we'd seen it or not. And I looked at the trailer and we definitely had seen it. And Dan in Real Life, which we definitely saw and we reviewed on this podcast, which was Steve Carell. What was Dan in Real Life? What was the deal?
His wife had died.
Oh, yes. And he was coming to terms with it.
I think so. I don't remember. Was he starting a business or something? He moved, and I don't know for sure.
For some reason, the opening scene sticks in my mind where he's putting his socks on. He's opening the sock drawer and putting his socks on. Yeah, well, Dan in Real Life was good. I know we liked it. And it was a similar type of thing to this. It was a very, realistic situation. So what do you think of Peter Hedges? I wonder if he has to direct his son, or his son just does the job, Because it's not like he's had no experience, but it'd be weird working with your dad as the director, I think.
Not necessarily. I mean, it depends on the dynamic of their relationship.
Don't tell me what to do.
No, I think if he's your boss, you know better. He's old enough to know. What
do you think of the direction and cinematography are different things. Cinematography is quite good in this movie. It's very, like even you say, it's kind of dreamy a little bit when they're going around the town.
Definitely dreamy.
It has those blur edges and lots of interesting shots.
Neon and Christmas lights. I said Brendan Wolfel, who's a photographer, who does a lot of the dreamy reflections.
Would like it.
Yeah, because it's very Instagram looking sometimes, I thought. That just jumped to my mind. Filters where it's like you've got a lot of Christmas lights over on one side of the screen. Then there's a little bit of whatever that's called, lens flare. And it kind of washes everything over with this sort of sweet little soft light. And in the moment, it's something horrible going on. I was like,
I'm sure the cinematographer would love to know that he's very Instagrammy.
Well, I mean, that's a sensibility now. It's like if you look at enough Instagram, I don't really look at the others, so Pinterest doesn't really have that so much.
There's kind of a glossy feel to it, but it's real at the same time.
Dreamy, soft, neon look a lot of times. But the thing is, it worked because it's Christmas time. Yeah. There's Christmas lights on every building they pull up to. And it looked really nice. I felt like in the attic, I don't know why I was thinking of it. The lighting was really good with both of them in there. I have been working on my photography skills for the last year, so maybe that's why I'm tuned into it. But it looked really nice all the time, I thought.
Yeah. They did have some kind of that handheld camera work going on. I noticed when there's even people talking.
Yeah.
But it's not ridiculous like, Cloverfield.
I know.
So, unfortunately, there are not really any extras on this Blu-ray apart from an audio commentary. So, yes, there is audio extras, but not really visual extras. Because I don't count a photo gallery as an extra. Because
no.
You can literally go on IMDb and look at their photo gallery and it's the same thing. So, there's an audio commentary with director, which I will be listening to because I'm interested to know, a director directing his son. And I'd be interested to know how that goes on. Or how how it comes to be. So, no actual extras, no making of or anything like that, unfortunately. So, what do you give this? Is this a recommendation from you?
Well, I never really recommend because I don't know what everyone would like. But it's not cheery and it's not super depressing. It's just sort of a look at. And if you like Julia Roberts a lot, beyond, Pretty Woman or whatever, and you just want to see her do something different, I'd say dig your teeth in. If you're dealing with these issues in your life,
you definitely might
identify with some of, because it's not like a big Hollywood movie where they dramatize every little bit of it. It's more like, a mom trying to save her son And that's it, really.
Yeah, it's not played for like tugging at your heartstrings either. It's just played matter
Doesn't
of
feel
fact
like it, no.
more. Like, oh, this is a situation that's happening. You know, it could be you could be watching a TLC documentary type thing. It's just some people who are going through some shit.
Yeah.
And you're watching them. So yeah, it's not like let's play the music at the right time and everybody cries.
I think they run through what's probably in a book somewhere about a parent who they blame, how they blame. So she blames the doctor first, and then she blames the people around him, and then she blames the fact that she left the father and he needed a father, and then she blames more, it's like she goes through all those things, which I'm sure is all written down somewhere that parents all do.
Yeah.
Even my grandma, when she found out my aunt was doing drugs, this is a long time ago, my aunt's like 70, but many years ago, she would just openly say, like, what have I done wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I say to her? What did I not give her? What did I give her too much? She hung around with those kids, and then did we, whatever. It was like on her mind that it wasn't my aunt's fault somehow that she made these choices.
Right.
And I feel like this was kind of a little pamphlet for that.
Yeah. So I would recommend it if you're into drama. I like drama movies like this, where some people might say, we're going to get to it in a second, what would people say on IMDb?
Yeah.
Some people might say nothing happens, or,
Oh, yeah.
It
was a waste of my life.
I would say, fuck you.
Oh, my God. Well, they are entitled to their opinion, but it's just the same story over and over.
All right, so I'm just warming up, limbering my voice up for the...
Right.
So at this point in the show, for the last few weeks, we have done I have a look on IMDb. It's one of my favorite things to look at what people think of movies. I know you don't care about what people think.
No, which is ironic.
I always love to have a look.
Podcast.
I always have. But I decided to read you some of the, bad reviews of this movie. There are a lot of good reviews always, but I just choose the bad ones because they're the funniest.
You like to focus on the bad.
All right, so yeah, we both like this movie, but these people didn't. And the number one is another PC diverse movie. Interracial marriage, 2 white kids, 2 black kids, make everything equal and balanced, typical of what Hollywood does these days. So out of this movie, which is,
Here's the thing. As we're discussing the movie, does the fact that her husband is African-American and she's white have anything to do with the movie whatsoever?
There's nothing to do with it.
No.
No.
So that's also a funny way to even look at it.
Also, this person watched this whole movie about a whole big subject, and that was what they focused on.
They focus on the fact that Hollywood represented real life. That couples exist who are interracial.
And the second one is incomplete ending. It was okay, but the ending, it just left you wondering, is that it? It wasted my time.
Oh, your time is so valuable. Oh my God.
Let me see if there's any.
We decided the only reason a movie is a waste of your time is if the movie begins, someone next to you goes into cardiac arrest, and you say to them, I'm not giving you CPR until I watch this movie. And then if they die and the movie was boring, that probably was not a good use of your time. However, if you're just some schmucko sitting on your ass, watching whatever trickles in front of your eyeballs, and this happens to be an hour and a half of it, stop bitching about it being a waste of your time. What else are you doing with your time? I don't know these people, but I'm judging them harshly.
Number 3 review. No scene was very memorable. The story. I was waiting for the highlight of the movie the entire time, but then nothing happened. Nothing scary, nothing sad or shocking. It was just flat. I didn't really get my full attention, actually. At the end of the movie, my reaction was, that is it? The directing. Julia Roberts did a wonderful job. Apparently he thinks Julia Roberts directed. She put in so much emotion. Unfortunately, the script wasn't excellent and no scene was memorable. So this guy actually thinks Julia Roberts directed it.
Interesting.
He must always think whoever is the lead in a movie directed it. Maybe. So yeah, there's that. There's a lot of good reviews for this one. I've there's a lot of 9 out of 10s, so this is actually a... Julia deserved a better sparring partner. This is not Creed, by the way. Lucas Hedges was good, but he doesn't dazzle in any way. Julia gives so much. Her subtlety and his blandness left me wanting more. I think he wanted more of his blandness.
More blend, please.
I would have loved to have seen someone new with more edge play this role. Isn't this guy new? Also,
it doesn't... The idea is this is just a person. He's not Jean-Claude Van Damme. Would that be who you want? Something like...
I would have liked to see Jean-Claude Van Damme play this 23-year-old boy.
This troubled guy who goes out and then kicks all the drug people's asses. Is that what they want? Like, give me a break.
All right, that's it for IMDb reviews this week.
Oh, these people.
So thanks to Lionsgate for providing us with a review copy. Next week, we're looking at the movie Mortal Engines, which is a big departure from this one, I believe.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Movie recommendations. We always recommend a movie at this point in the show, but I usually base it on what we've seen. So I'm going for my favorite drug use movie, Trainspotting. If you like a good time watching people do drugs, Trainspotting's your place to be. I mean,
it's not a good time watching people do drugs, but if you want to do that, you can also watch the TV show Intervention. I mean,
true.
There's your free pass right there.
So Trainspotting, the drug connection, and my second recommendation is Manchester by the Sea, which is Lucas Hedges' connection. Yeah, sadness, depressing.
If you really, really want sad,
Lucas Hedges,
but good. It's good.
It's very good, yeah, and there's some awesome scenes in it.
But oh my word, you're not going to walk away from that laughing it up. You might actually want to reach for some sort of chemical inducement to cheer you up. Because
I really like Michelle Williams in that movie.
It's hardcore.
All right, so yours are?
Mine are... I'm going a different direction. I'm going for Incredibles 2. The Incredibles 2. It's really fun.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. It's really, I mean, I'd watch Incredibles and then Incredibles 2 if you're going to go for it. It's just fun. It's laughable. There's no drug addicts that I'm aware of in the movie.
There might be some voice actors who are drug addicts.
Maybe, I don't know. But then the other one is the opposite of all these things we talk about. Like, it's a movie that I find quite pretentious, even though it was trying to be avant-garde at its time in 1929, which is called Un Chien Andalou. Salvador Dali and some of his art people making the one where they slice open the eyeball and everything, you know, and it's just...
Slice open an eyeball?
Yeah, you have to see it. It's 1929, and they're trying to be of the new school of, like, fuck all the old art that's ever existed because it's all boring and bourgeois. And so we're going to be avant-garde and interesting and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So it's shocking, and it's kind of pointless. It tries to make a statement at different times. It's about 17 minutes long, so it's not like you're in it for the long haul. But if you want something that when you're done, you might think, what the hell did I use my 17 minutes for? There you go. Because you will be like, what the hell was that? Or you'll be like, whoa, it's so incredible for its time, you know?
Or you could watch that movie. There's like a trilogy, Red, White, and Blue. And the red movie is like 8 hours of a red screen and then some credits. That would waste your time, right? Possibly.
I don't know. Not if it gave you some sort of
I want to see the IMDb reviews for that. Nothing happened for 8 hours. I was bored. And then the credits rolled.
Well, there you go.
Now all I see is red when I go outside the theatre.
I don't even know if that's a waste of your time if you enjoy it or get something out of it, but...
Yeah. All right, so the Oscars happened last weekend. We watched them in their full. Mm-hmm. We watched all of them. What was your... it was hostless. That was the big deal.
Which was fine.
How did you like the Oscars?
It was fine. I'm neutral. I think it was fine. I don't care about the host part. I'm glad that they didn't overdo any of the songs and the razzmatazz. I like that they just sang the songs and that was it. And, I mean, we gave some people some awards in their industry.
What?
It's not that big a deal. It's just it's like an award ceremony that anybody else has in the whole of the world. I mean, kids go to high school and play softball and they have the softball awards, you know, they have a ceremony and a dinner and they give the best achievement for this year and the best player, and academics, the kids get awards, and at ceremonies like graduation, you get an award for being the best in your class. It's not that big of a deal. Just because they're all rich and dressed up doesn't make it that much more special. However, it is a spectacle. It's always got the political thing, which I think we could all live without.
Spike Lee.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about any of these rich, famous people's points of view. I just don't. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't mean anything to me. What they say, even if I agree, it doesn't have more importance. I mean, they're not in touch with life like my life or anything. So I just like that it's a show and it was well done and it looked nice. I like the stage. There weren't any major goof ups or anything that I can recall.
I don't think there was any goof ups, was there? Rami Malek fell off the stage, but not
afterwards.
But not during the ceremony.
Not during.
I really liked Lady Gaga and...
I thought that was kind of pretentious, but hey.
I really liked it. I'd just seen the movie the day before, and I'm really into the song, and it just was really nice.
Oh, it's so pretentious to do that whole, like, acting lovey-dovey, coy, sexual thing. It was just like, ugh. I know you did. It
really worked for me.
You like shiny objects. It wasn't that interesting.
And that song has been stuck in my head all week. Like, all week.
I know.
I love it. I love it.
I mean, I like it, but I'm pretty good at... I don't know. I shouldn't say I get over things, because I will listen to my things that I love over and over and over, like U2 or something. But when something brand new comes along, I'll hit it hard for a short period of time, and then I'm done. So I think
what else was they did the Mary Poppins one. They did... Oh, I really liked Olivia Colman's speech, because she was definitely shocked. I don't think she had any... She didn't think she was getting an Oscar, did she?
I don't think at first, but then I felt like it almost immediately turned into an actress speech. So
I think that's what she could come up with on this, like, quickly. Like, oh, I'll be funny, you know? Because that's what I'm used to being. She's one of my favourite British comedies called Peep Show. She was actually in Peep Show. And she was very like that. That's her style of comedy, right? You know, she's kind of coy and sarcastic.
I mean, as acting, as a character.
Who else had a good speech? Oh, I didn't like Spike Lee's speech, but I rarely do like anything that Spike Lee says. Also, Spike Lee being a big baby after the show, like saying that the movie that actually won was not black enough for him. What? Shut up. Really?
He doesn't have to shut up. I don't understand your point of view. He's entitled to his opinion. It's just
but just go and say that elsewhere.
Like
don't say it in the press conference.
People think it's more important because he's a rich Hollywood director-writer guy, and it isn't. Him saying to you, this movie isn't worthy, doesn't mean it isn't worthy. But what
bugged me was the movie that won, congratulations to the movie that won, actually, which was...
Green Card. Or
Green Book.
Yeah.
Which is about racism. And it's
right, but it's written by white people, directed by white people, produced by white people, mostly starring all white people. Mostly all. And that is Spike Lee's argument, which is a reasonable argument when you're saying we're trying to make movies that are balanced and more, whatever. That's fair. I don't have a problem with that. But again, because he didn't like it, didn't mean it was bad.
No, I'm sure the movie's very good, is what I'm saying. But he, in the press conference, kind of made everybody just talk about that. Oh, wow, this movie shouldn't have been it, and Black Klansman should have been, and it's just annoying. You know?
But he's entitled to his opinion. It just doesn't... Everyone shouldn't give it so much importance, is all.
But I did like the telecast in general. They had some really cool commercials, actually. Ridley Scott did a commercial that was really cool looking. You know what? Those commercials only get shown once, apparently. Those Oscar commercials. Same as the Super Bowl ones.
Right.
Seems like a waste when you've made such an awesome commercial. You know? Like, why can't it be shown again? Like, you know?
Well, you can see them online.
But
You're
I really
advocating for more commercials?
Well, cool commercials like that, though, just kind of different. There's quite a few. There was a Nike one that was kind of cool.
Why would you sit and watch commercials more than once on purpose?
Well, if you have to, I guess. Like if you're watching regular TV and commercials are there.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you advocate that?
I would rather watch that than watching, like, the Swiffer mop commercial like 50 times. Right. Something artistic and cool looking. So there's that. This week I won a contest, which was cool. So always enter our contests. We have contests on our website. We've got one going on at the moment to win Wreck-It Ralph. So you've always got a chance to win a contest, right? It's not just like nobody wins contests.
Absolutely.
Because I won a contest this week and I won a really good prize.
First, let's say you said, I think I've won because I've got a delivery coming. I'm pretty sure I feel like I've won. And I was like, we'll see, right? Because I'm skeptical. And you're like, no, I'm pretty sure. Then it said it was delivered. And you're like, but it's not out there. And I'm pretty sure I won. And this is a big one. Like, this is an expensive thing. And a few minutes later, of course, they show up with it. And you had won.
I won a motherboard, a CPU, and some RAM from AMD. They had a contest about their Ryzen 7 processors. And I enter any contest that I see. I just enter it. I mean, it's not hard to fill your name and address and your email, is it? I mean, Sid Talk doesn't enter contests.
No.
So you'll never win like I did.
That's true.
But you won anyway because you got my old computer.
Correct. I don't have to actually enter to win.
But yeah, I won a Ryzen 7 2700X, which is the top of the line Ryzen processor. It's a 16-core, if you know about PCs. It's very fast. I won some G-Skill memory, which is like the kind of memory that lights up in any color you want. It's really cool. And an Asus B450 motherboard that it all goes into. And it's really good. I've got it all. In fact, I'm recording this show on it now, so.
Oh, yeah, good. We haven't experimented yet with that.
No, it's super fast. Yesterday I was encoding a video and playing a video game at the same time. Can never do that, but I was doing that and it was cool. So yeah, my tip to you is enter contests because people have to win the contests. Mm-hmm. And I never win anything. I mean, I've won bits and pieces here and there, like Steam keys for games, but I've never won a prize like this, which was about $600 worth, I think. So I was very excited. And now I have a cool new PC to play with. So, games that I've been playing this week, I've just been playing Metro 2033, some more of it on my new PC, actually. I've been trying a lot of old games just to see how much better they run. They're a lot smoother. I feel like if I had two screens, I could run two games at once. Do you know what I'm saying?
Do it.
But I don't have two screens. I just have an ultra-wide screen.
That's true.
But yeah, you can do a lot more things at once with these 16-core processors. And I moved from an 8 to a 16. You moved from a 4 to an 8. Also, because you just got my upgrade. So we're all upgraded. It's really cool. So what is for dinner, Sid Talk?
Tonight we're going to have rice, which is left over, and some peas, and some Quorn brand chicken, which isn't chicken.
No, it's
made from a mushroom fungus.
What is it called?
Microfungi.
Something like that.
Sounds
we actually
great.
saw it being made.
It's really good, though. It's just like shaped into like a chicken breast shape, but it's really good. It's really
tastes delicious.
We've been eating it for 10 years, so to me, it's beautiful. I've fried up in the pan, get all nice and browned. Maybe throw an onion in there, and then have some peas and some rice. Maybe make a little bit of sauce in there. You know, you like the wetness. I don't understand you people with the wetness.
Yeah, I got to have wet on the food.
My food is not saucy enough. My beverage isn't wet enough. My mouth is too dry. I must just be really moist. To all the people who don't like that word, apparently, moist. My mouth doesn't crave liquids constantly. I'm very well...
I'm so moist.
I'm very well lubricated, I guess. Something about me. I'm not craving, but I'll make you some gravy / sauce or whatever. We did learn the five mother sauces the other day in cooking.
We did.
Do you remember them?
One was a veal one. I don't know the name.
I forget what it was called.
Mm-hmm.
The other
we didn't learn it, did we?
We didn't learn it. Well, we know there's a bechamel. Almost all of them were started with a roux, which is flour and fat. There's a brown roux. Then there's the one that was...
chicken one.
What was the one that wasn't a roux? There's a tomato one, but that also had a roux. And I don't know, there was one that didn't have that starter, but...
We didn't really learn it. We just skirted over it.
We know there are 5 mother sauces in French cooking.
We do.
That we know. And we know what a roux is. We watch a lot of cooking shows. This is why it comes to mind.
MasterChef Australia we watch. Yeah, it's quite good.
It is really good. If you love watching these cooking competitions, you get a lot of bang for your buck with that one.
It's one of the best cooking competitions.
So that's what's for supper. And for dessert, we have Reese's peanut butter cups.
And what is the, what's your advice?
My advice is more just like a statement that a lot of people won't like, but I don't care. And it might be because I'm completely biased because my personality is confrontational. If you've ever done personality tests in your whole life, you'll find out things about yourself, which I already knew. I'm very confrontational. I don't shy away from shit too much. If it's just right there, I just face it down and like it or not like it. So to me, confrontation is like honesty. Like you are willing to be presented the truth. Whether you like it or not, that's irrelevant. But if you're facing down a problem, the truth is going to come at you. If you avoid a problem or you avoid a situation, it's a lie. Because no matter which direction you go, you're steering away from the truth. You are afraid, you're chicken shit, you can't cope, whatever the problem is. Not confronting a problem is just the same as lying about it to yourself.
Is this brought on from watching Jean on EastEnders?
No, not brought on by that, but she's one of those... She's a fictional character, but represents a type of person who likes to avoid everything.
It really got you, didn't it? You were like,
well, if you pretend something's not wrong with you because you don't want to fuss, then basically, she's a character who is finding out she may or may not have cancer. Well, she doesn't want anyone to know and doesn't want to tell anybody and doesn't want anybody to even bring it up. And if she runs away from it, it won't be there. But that is a lie. It isn't the truth. And if you face it and someone says you do have cancer, there's your truth. If you face it and they say you don't have cancer, there's the truth. And then you can move on. So it isn't just that. I mean, people in life who are like, la, 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 fingers in the ears, la, 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 don't want to hear it. You're living a lie.
To be honest, that character of Jean who does that, she's consistent. She's always been like that.
No, not at all. She's not like that with other people at all. She's up in their business constantly. She's always trying to get people. She told people about Haley. She she reveals everybody else's secret. So in the writing portion of this person, there's some failure there because that's not who she consistently is. She doesn't keep secrets. She's not good at any of that. For other people, she's right up in their business. Like she's the first one who would go and tell somebody else that her daughter had cancer, right? So that's just kind of bad writing. But in life, that's probably true. People who want to be up in your business and then they pretend they don't have a problem, probably very accurate. But I'm just saying, confronting a thing doesn't make it worse unless it's a dangerous situation. You don't want to confront a physical dangerous situation if you're not fully prepared or equipped with safety. Like that's different than like life things, like confronting the fact that your son is doing drugs, confronting the fact that you're running out of money, or confronting a fact if you're not really that much in love with your husband anymore, or you're whatever the thing is, avoiding it doesn't make it less true. It just means you're circling around a bigger lie. So there you go.
Well said.
Thank you.
You can catch our website, ascully.com. There is no SidTalk.com. It's gone.
Correct.
All right. So catch us on Twitter, Facebook.
I am on Instagram. Sid Talk. If you're on
Instagram. I am also. I can't remember what my name is. Probably Ascully.
I can't remember. I don't post a lot. I mean, I probably will now because I'm doing my gardening stuff for the year. So I'm going to try to take some kind of cool progressive pictures of my gardening.
I don't post at all on Instagram. I posted a Twin Peaks wallpaper on Instagram, and I posted it there, so when I needed it again, I knew where to go and get it. I don't know if that's how you use Instagram. But we're on Twitter and Facebook. We're on this podcast on the Google Music Store. I think it's called Google Play. The iTunes Music Store. We're on TuneIn Radio. You can use Amazon devices to listen to it. Say listen to After the Show movie podcast, and it will play it. You can also find us on YouTube. RSS feed, just go to ascully.com, click on the word podcast. All the subscription options are there on one handy page. You can email feedback to me at ascully@ascully.com. Don't email SidTalk, even though she does still have her email address. And stay classy, Julia Roberts as Holly Burns in this movie. Very good and very entertaining.
And I'm going to say, think for yourself or someone will do it for you.